We recently announced a new This Morning campaign to help tackle the dangerous rise of children and teenagers taking up vaping.
Now, our campaign has already been backed by England's Chief Medical Officer, Professor Sir Chris Whitty, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And today we're hearing why this issue is so important.
Yeah, like so many teenagers and around teenage age, 12-year-old Sarah Williams admits she was addicted to vaping. But last month, she was left fighting for her life in a medically induced coma after doctors say vaping exacerbated her asthma.
Following that terrifying experience, Sarah is now hoping to warn others. She joins us now with her mum, Mary, alongside respiratory expert, Professor Nick Hopkinson. Good morning to all of you. Nick, we're going to come to you very shortly. Let's start off with you, Sarah, because obviously so many children are picking up this habit of vaping. How did you get started in it, and did someone recommend you to start doing it?
So I was out with a friend, me and my younger sister. I was 9, she was 7.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who wasn't really a friend. She lived at the bottom of my street, and she was 13 at this time, and she had been vaping, and she had said to me that I should have tried it, and then I tried it. She actually had my younger sister try it when she was 7, but my sister didn't like it, whereas I done it that once and then completely forgot about it, and then as I was in my first year of high school, I started picking up the habit of vaping again. And
just because when you tried it, you liked it, and was it kind of peer pressure from your friends? Was it just kind of the done thing to do?
It was just a trend, basically. Like, if you don't do it, then you're not very much liked.
Mary, as a parent, I can only imagine what it's like, because you're sort of kicking yourself, but at the same time, when we're growing up, it was always smoking, right? Now, smoking is so easy to detect.
Yeah.
You can smell smoking often.
Yeah.
Vaping is so much more serendipitous. It's just...
Unless they're doing it in front of you.
Exactly.
You can't actually sense that they're doing it. You just sort of have to be vigilant, but you can't follow them about 24 hours a day. So with Sarah, when she was caught, when she was 9, she was grounded, her phone took off her, things like that. And she never looked back. So then when she was starting secondary school, she had been hanging about with the ones that were. So I knew then to keep an eye on her. But as I say, they're getting it in school, they're doing it outside of school, they're doing it on their way to school, from school. They're hiding them everywhere. There's ones that's allowed, so they can take theirs home and give it back to them the next day.
Did you ever find a vape on her, or see the box in the bin or anything like that?
Found vapes on her quite a few times, and of course you get all the excuses. Oh, that's my friends, that's this, that's...
Yeah.
So...
I would usually share them with my friends. We would put our money together, or else we'd just share them, because there's certain friends whose mummies would let them, so you could buy them off their friends. Or else you just go in, because there's certain shops that would serve young ones.
Yeah.
And me and my friend got one, and we had shared it, so she had taken it home with her.
Oh, so you didn't have anything on you, so it didn't look like you vaped?
Yeah.
So she brought it in the school, and then I would have had it during school hours, and then because we would have got the bus together to school and coming home, and we would have met each other in the toilets, because we get toilet passes, and we both had a toilet pass, so we'd text each other and be like, go to the bathroom now, I'll bring it down for you.
It's so hard to keep track of all of that, isn't it? It's impossible.
Yeah.
And Sarah, you got to the point where you were addicted so much you were doing like about 4,000 puff vapes every couple of days. Is that right? So how did this come to a head? When did you get ill? What happened?
At the start of September.
After how many years? About 4 years of vaping? Or 3 years of vaping?
I think it'd only be 2, because I'd done it that once when I was 9 and then stopped, and then it was when it came into first year last year.
So...
is when I had one on me every single day. Like, I was never without one.
And Mary, what happened?
Everything. Say you go through all the major disciplines, like you're grounded, you take your phones, you're not getting money. As Sarah said, if I want to do it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? There's no way that you're...
Yeah.
You become an addict.
You can't, as I said, you can't follow them 24 hours a day, so there's no point. I threatened to take her bedroom door and all off so that she wouldn't have the privacy to be able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
So when did the problem come about with Sarah's breathing? What happened then?
That was around about the 10th or 11th of September. Sarah, on the Sunday night, had started coughing. And around about this time of year, Sarah's asthma would play up a bit anyway, so she had her inhalers and the nebulizer. And so she was coughing throughout the night. As I say, we never thought anything of it. There was no signs of anything else. Thought maybe just a chest infection. And then on the Monday morning, she said she still wasn't feeling great, so she stayed in bed. I was getting the kids to school. But just left the house when she asked to come back. And she was coughing again, so she took her inhalers again and the nebulizer. And shortly after, she seemed to settle. I went to the shop. She rang me. Mum, I need you to come back. She could barely breathe, barely string a sentence together. I need a doctor or hospital.
Yeah.
And so I rang her daddy. He came straight away. And it literally just...
Snowballed from there.
Snowballed, like, immensely.
So you were rushed into hospital. You was admitted. They looked at your lungs, and one of your lungs was so bad that you had to be put into an induced coma.
All I remember was I went in, they done my vitals.
Yeah.
And heart rate, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
My oxygen was low, so I texted my mummy and said, can you come down, my oxygen's low. And then next thing I was in the x-ray room, they done it, and then I got put into like a wee side ward kind of thing. And all the doctors come around and looked at it and were staring at me. So then I started panicking and then started texting my mummy and my friends saying, I'm in hospital, I don't know when I'm getting out or if I'm getting out. And
that's when I received a text message from Sarah.
So she went into a induced coma, is that right?
Yeah, when she was in the resus room, her daddy and her younger brother was with her. So when I got there, I gave Sarah a hug, told her everything was going to be okay, although I seen the many doctors there was, I wasn't convinced.
No, sure.
How frightening was that as a mom to see your child in that situation?
She was on, and she just looked so small. She was sitting on the end of the trolley, and the machines, everything. The doctors then showed me the x-rays where one lung was working, one wasn't. Explained that vaping is probably what exacerbated the asthma. And she needed 24-hour care, so they explained she was going to have to go to ICU. And while they were there, while they said half an hour to get her settled, it took 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
At this stage, I thought Sarah was dead.
And when she came out of that, what did they say to you in terms of, like, how her lungs are going to be now?
With the vaping and stuff, Sarah's lungs has now been left. There's permanent damage, or they'll never be working 100%.
And what do you want to say, both of you, what do you want to say to people who are out there right now of your age or around your age who are thinking about doing this?
Think of
don't
Sarah.
listen to your friends. Don't think it's going to make you cool, because it doesn't. It's just...
It could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
It can happen to anyone. Sarah's... We've all learned the hard way now with Sarah. Just want to get that message out there.
Nick, let's bring in you. So let's talk about how dangerous vaping is for younger people.
So I think there are two really important but sort of separate messages about vaping. The first is that for people who smoke, vaping is much, much less harmful than smoking. So anyone out there who is a smoker, who's thinking about switching across to vaping, that go for it. It is a way of reducing your risk, because the toxic materials that are in cigarette smoke, like tar particles and carbon monoxide, are not in vaping. So that's a message for adults, for people who smoke. Vaping is something that
it's a tool to use. Yeah.
But it's certainly not harmless, and the sort of vapor will be irritating for the lungs, and particularly in people who already have a health problem like asthma. It's like to make that worse, and it could certainly aggravate that. So, two clear messages for children: don't go anywhere near this.
And for parents, don't let your children go anywhere near.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a really clear message that that lungs, especially growing lungs, need to breathe clean air. And we talk a lot about reducing air pollution to protect lung health, the effect of passive smoking on lung health, and vaping is another element of that. That for children, when their lungs are growing and developing, they need to be breathing clean air. And
allergic reactions are possible as well from these vapes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there are sort of two different things related to vaping. Yeah. The one is that it will cause some irritation to the airways, and over 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, if someone vapes for a long time, it's likely that will cause an accumulation of lung damage. So obviously the best way to prevent that happening is never to start in the first place. So that's the sort of the long-term effect. So again, much less than smoking, but not nothing, and we want to avoid that.
Yeah.
There are also, fortunately, very rare sort of allergic type reactions, which can cause people to develop very acute sort of lung inflammation. I mean, those are very serious, can take people into hospital, need to be on a ventilator, and you know, can be fatal, but they are incredibly rare. But the main thing is just this is something that will damage lungs, you know, over time, can aggravate things like asthma, and you know, absolutely needs to be avoided by kids.
Thank you. And just out of interest, what's your recovery like now, Mary? Is it going all right?
Her recovery's going well. She's back to school. She's not as active as what she would have been.
Yeah.
Obviously now we're having planned things differently. Sarah has things in place, asthma plans, new inhalers. She's going to remain a high-risk patient. So it has changed her life. It's not just, you know, it wasn't just staying in hospital and get better and that's it. It's now something that she will always have.
Thank you for using your story, because there's so many people out there who are vaping, and hopefully they listen to your story, Sarah, and stop, hopefully.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Sarah. Thanks for being brave enough to come in. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Just the British Independent British Vape Trade Association said vaping is a proven extremely effective tool for adult smokers, given its substantially safer alternative. However, no vape retailer should be selling illegal vape products or selling any vape products to someone under 18. The IBVTA works closely with the UK authorities to enforce restrictions. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.